Why is Lucy Walter arrested and brought to the Tower of London? Was she a spy? Or was she simply visiting her family? In June 1656, Lucy Walters arrives and takes up residence in a barber's shop off the back of Somerset House. It's almost certainly these buildings, these 6 or 7 buildings we see here, that form Lucy's life on the Strand, which connects the City of London with the City of Westminster. And that's a really important thoroughfare that was mainly used by everybody that was travelling, if they couldn't go by the river, which was the more common approach. But one of the main things about the property and the location is it's actually just a stone's throw, and where we're going to go next, Axe Yard, where Lucy's uncle and aunt lived, but also where her mother was living before she died. So this part of London has changed dramatically, really, since Lucy's time, for lots of obvious reasons. And here we are actually on Surrey Street. And Surrey Street actually didn't exist in 1656. It wasn't even here. So here I am, just a few paces further from Surrey Street. And behind me is this really amazing, big, modern building. Well, not amazing, but modern building. But this was actually the site of Arundel House, down by the river. And that's why Arundel Street at the end there was actually the entrance into Arundel House. But off the side of Arundel House was Axe Yard. And Axe Yard is approximately where those 2 doors there are. It would have led into a courtyard, and on the maps there's a picture of a garden at the bottom. So you can imagine here they would have been living close to the city, in fact between City and Westminster. But also just further up there you can see St Clement's in the Danes, and this is actually one of the important locations for Lucy's family. We're going to go there now quickly to have a look. So here we are, just a little bit further down from Axe Yard, and I'm standing outside St Clement's in the Danes. It's actually a really, really important church. It's been restored and changed over the years. It's now undergoing restoration yet again. So as you can see, the proximity and location of this is really quite important. This wasn't some poor slum in 1656. It was actually a really important thoroughfare where lots of activity took place, lots of shops. But it's also interesting to understand that the Strand, as I mentioned earlier, connects Westminster with the city. And in the City of London, you've got Lucy's Aunt Anne. So overall, it's a really important central location for her family. So was Lucy here as a messenger, or just simply visiting family and grieving for her mother? However, little did Lucy know that she had been watched and followed for most of her travels around London. On 26th of June, Lucy flees the barber shop, fearing arrest. However, later that evening, she finally is captured and taken to the Tower of London, where she's interviewed by the governor. Here, she feels that she's now being threatened with her life. It's only Oliver Cromwell, the Lord Protector, that can make the decision. Is she a spy? Is she working for King Charles II? Will she be found guilty of high treason? Will she be taken from the tower and executed, either by beheading or, if she's a common whore, by being burnt at the stake? Lucy doesn't know her fate, and right now she's sat in the Tower of London alone. As a historian, it's amazing to think that these properties even still exist off the back of Somerset House. It's in one of these that Lucy Walters spent just a few weeks in 1656. But we know all that because of the documentation that was written around her journey and what happened to her while she was in London. So was Lucy here as a spy, as a messenger, or was she actually just in London grieving with her family for the loss of her mother? We'll never know the full truth. But for me as a historian, it's amazing to think that these little shadows of 17th century life still exist in London today. With that, thank you very much for joining me on Lucy Tuesday. I hope you like it. You can find out more in my book, Charles II's Secret Queen. coming out from Pen and Sword in October. Thank you very much, and listen in next time. Cheers.